Playboi Carti is one of the biggest rappers out right now. He's had some of the best rap performances in recent times, some of the best features he's had in his entire career, and an overall cult-like fan base that will literally cry if he even breathes in their direction. But Wiz, if you're a Carti fan, why do you believe that he's running out of time? Alright, first of all, be quiet. And second of all, it's because we've been waiting 4 fucking years for a new album. Now hold on there. 4 years, you may be saying? There's no way you've been waiting 4 years for the same album. And that's because we weren't. You see, right after Whole Lotta Red dropped on Christmas 2020, Carti would promise his fans with a Whole Lotta Red Deluxe. A video would even drop of him and Kid Cudi singing along to one of his popular leaks at the time, literally titled Kid Cudi. And for any Carti fan at the time who didn't get to hear their favorite snippets on Whole Lotta Red, this was like if Christmas came a second time. Cause just in March, Carti's close music partner, Lil Uzi, would drop their most anticipated album at the time, Eternal Atake, who would then drop a deluxe a week after with everyone's anticipated snippet. So at the time, fans believed Carti was basically just gonna copy that formula. Nope. This was pre-Vampire Sex Clown Carti. People did not know at the time how much this man just loved to lie, but at least he made it up in his crazy performances. Throughout 2021, Carti would go on an amazing run of concerts with some of the craziest clips I'd ever seen. I mean, I could dedicate an entire video to how influential this album is to the music landscape nowadays, but this isn't really about that. All right, lock in. August 2021 would change our lives. Why? Because he announced a new album called Narcissist, and fans would start connecting the dots. Holy shit, that's his birthday. The album's gonna drop on his birthday, is what fans thought until they realized that this was all a lie. The album didn't drop. So far, Carti was 0 and 2 for promised albums. No deluxe, no Narcissist. But this is where I want you to start paying attention to some of the patterns that Carti will showcase throughout this video. Starting with Narcissist in specific, just a few days after fans were upset with him for not dropping Narcissist, he would later post a screenshot onto Twitter of him supposedly talking to a few label heads telling them to forget the sample clearances, wah, drop Narcissist. But hold on a second, we skipped over a whole other screenshot right before that. Carti would state, the website is hacked, the red photo was posted live, never approved any clothing. What the what? What is he talking about? Oh, he's talking about the website leak that happened a day after he was supposed to drop the fucking album. But apparently that supposed album was actually just merch. I guess the motto on the Instagram post kind of gave that away, didn't it? But don't these two screenshots kind of contradict themselves? Is Narcissist an album or is it a clothing line? But who cares? Here's the Narcissist tour, everyone. By the way, the album isn't fucking dropping anymore. You see how in just a minute you were thrown through a bunch of different hoops with no clear ending? Yeah, that's what it was like being a fan of this nigga back in 2021. The rollout for Narcissist was one of the most confusing messes I think I've ever seen. My personal belief is that Narcissist was never even an album. The reason I said pay attention to these behaviors is because this is what allows him to get away with the shit he gets away with. For an example, that is why Carti teases his fans so much, because he knows how fucking insane they'll go. This man used to be able to make a tweet about anything and go trending for no fucking reason, like he was a Dream SMP YouTuber back in 2020. So if you're at that level of power, why would you really need to do anything when your fans can just do all that work for you? So boom, here's a word, here's a date, go crazy. And oh, when it backfires on me, I'll just lie and tell you guys a completely different story. Sounds like something an actual narcissist would do. Oh wait, and after that whole debacle, we wouldn't hear anything about new music until his interview with XXL in April of 2022, where he would announce a new album called Music. What do you mean your album is just called Music? But by the time we reached this interview, the Narcissist tour, now renamed to the King Vamp tour, had been concluded. And I think it's also important to note that during this time, Kanye and Carti would begin to mend a closer friendship. I mean, Kanye literally featured and executively produced Whole Lotta Red, but what came out in September of 2021 and February 2022 would elevate this duo even more. And that was Donda. Around this time, some of the most anticipated tracks on Donda were songs with Carti on them, whether it was the 24 song snippet or the now released Junior, and especially Off the Grid. And then we had Donda 2. And had Donda 2 in February 2022 actually released, we would have seen him on Mr. Miyagi. This was around the time that he debuted the sex clown aesthetic. Right before that, around the release of Whole Lotta Red, he had the vampire aesthetic. And if you couldn't tell, I really liked the clown aesthetic at the time. But other than that announcement, the entire year would go by of Carti, poking his head out here and there until we finally reached December. The time filled with snow, spending time with family, opening presents on Christmas Day, and oh my God, Carti just tweeted, I love my supporters, it's time! And what's that? It's the 2-year anniversary of Whole Lotta Red. Holy shit, he's gonna drop his new album, Music! Nope. In 2020, he was Santa. And in 2022, he turned into the fucking Grinch and ruined 49 million people's Christmases!
Excuse me, what the actual fuck?
Thanks for nothing. Fun fact, that was actually his final tweet, still to this day. A fucking lie. Now, why would Carti do such a thing? Was it because it was the 2-year anniversary of Whole Lotta Red? As much as I'd like to think that he was doing just a little Speaking of trolling, I'm 90% sure that this was actually damage control, because just 5 days before these tweets, he would actually be arrested in Georgia for allegedly choking his pregnant girlfriend. My guess is that he actually tweeted these in anticipation of the story hitting the news sometime soon. So in the same way before with Narcissist, how he gets caught in his own lies and then manipulates his fan base to get out of it, he would do the same thing again. Are you catching on to the pattern now? Luckily for him, the news of this incident wouldn't break until February 14th, 2023. So he definitely didn't need to do that damage control, but what a fucking horrible Valentine's Day. But speaking of 2023, what the fuck did he do in 2023? Oh, he started off the year with more damage control, because once the girlfriend story broke, he disappeared like a fucking vampire in the night for 2 months. And the first thing that he did when he came back in May of 2023 was post an Instagram story of him on the phone with The Weeknd. Then just a month later, their song Popular would drop. Now, why would I call that damage control? Because his fans know that he pops in and out all the time. So if something big like this breaks and he disappears, his fans have fucking attachment issues to this nigga. So they're gonna assume that he's just dealing with that and forget it ever even happens once he drops new music. So my theory is that he made sure that once he returned from a big news story like that he would immediately drop music. And like magic, the entire story went away. And once again, luckily for him, Popular would actually be the beginning of his crazy 2023 feature run. But before we get to that crazy feature run, let's go through all the other miscellaneous shit that he did in this year. He toured Whole Lotta Red for the 3rd year in a row. And at these shows, he would tease a few songs like Rockstar and Pop Out. And none of them saw a release. There's literally no fucking point. Oh, yeah, an old documentary from the Whole Lotta Red era would actually leak, showing scrap music videos to his songs Over and Bitch Boy. It also included some footage of him in the studio. And there was also a bunch of other cryptic Instagram stories that I don't even care to go into, but thankfully I won't need to, because in July of 2023, Travis Scott would drop his highly anticipated album Utopia with a Carti feature on the song Fiend. Fiend, 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 Fiend. And of course, this song would go absolutely viral, and is currently both one of their most streamed songs ever. And the next day, he would post on Instagram stating, "Believe it, no shit on the way, believe it." No, Carti, I will not be believing that. But maybe I should have, because just 5 months after dropping Fiend, Carti would actually drop a single onto Instagram called Different Day. This would begin the I Am Music rollout. Yes, I'm counting music and I Am Music as different rollout eras. Because at least in the I Am Music era, he actually dropped songs, because he'd literally waste no time dropping another song called 2024 just a week after Different Day. And it actually was starting to look like I Am Music would be dropping sometime soon. He would later drop Hood by Air just 5 days after 2024. And in the song would actually reveal that he has a daughter, 27 when I had Eve. This would make her his second baby, with Onyx being the first he'd have with Iggy Azalea. With Hood by Air being the final song of the year, it was looking like 2024 would be the year of I Am Music. And it wouldn't be too far from the truth, because he'd waste, again, absolutely no time dropping Backrooms with Travis Scott on January 1st of 2024. And then just 2 weeks later, he'd drop Evil Jordan. Then in February of 2024, he'd be performing at the Grammys for the first time with Travis Scott. And then just a week later, he'd be featured on Carnival and Fuck Some off of Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign's album, Vultures 1. I don't think I need to explain how fucking huge Carnival was as well. Hey, so good she honorable, she ride dick.
Herbalife is accepting applications for their...
But that wasn't all. Just a month later, he would also be featured on Type Shit off of We Don't Trust You. Later that month, he would drop another solo single called Ketamine. And finally, he'd later drop I Love It with pop star Camila Cabello within the same month as well. See why I call this a crazy feature run? He featured on so many mainstream albums throughout the year and released so much solo music that everyone was hoping that the album would drop pretty soon. But again, I believe this was all just more manipulation. He tried to break the pattern that we started to recognize by releasing music, but the singles I just mentioned never even saw an official release. They were exclusively on YouTube and Instagram. That doesn't even make fucking sense. The only songs we got were fucking features. This is the only man that I know that'll unrelease music. And you'd think with such an amazing music run, he'd steer clear of controversy, but that's actually one thing that happened this year that I completely glossed over. In February of 2024, Playboi Carti would get into some controversy after he scammed the streamer Adin Ross of at least $1 million. The reason I say at least is because according to Adin Ross, he only gave Carti some of the money, but for some YouTubers, it was more crazy to run with the 2 million narrative, so we'll just say that Carti only got half the money. But he basically made Adin Ross go to some random butt-fuck warehouse and turn the lights off. At first, he was late, then left, then claimed he was coming back, then didn't, then came back 10 minutes later, but then told Adin that he'd only come in once an intro song was played. Then once the intro started playing, Carti would walk in with the rest of Opium. He'd say nothing for a few minutes, go up to the mic and say,
Love you. Thank you. 2024 music. It's important that we have good bonds with the streamers.
2024 music, and dip with the money. He was on stream for 6 fucking minutes. We watched this man, Adin, get robbed live in front of 500,000 people. But guess what happens after the internet explodes with disapproval of Carti's actions? Carti would again seemingly do damage control and hop on the phone with Adin tweeting, "Stream soon, part 2, the right way for the fans. All questions will be answered." And before you even ask me if this happened, no the fuck it didn't. That should not be a surprise at this point. Adin Ross is still begging for his money back, still to this day. Now, I'm not finna Shane Dawson this guy and call him a sociopath, but if Carti himself claims to be a narcissist, let's see how well he actually fits some of these symptoms. Oh wow, look at that. And for full transparency, these are how many symptoms I took from a list on a website that I used to research a paper in sophomore year about hypochondriacs, so take everything I just said with a grain of salt. But to be honest though, he's literally been self-snitching for the past 3 years. I wouldn't be surprised with everything that's come out about him, but regardless of these things, he still continues to be pushed by the mainstream media. He dropped a single pretty recently, and apparently is supposed to be performing his entire album at Rolling Loud Miami on December 15th. Now, I'm not saying I want this man banished from everything. I still consider myself a fan of Carti, the artist, but I think it's important to have a conversation about separating the art from the artist, especially when it comes to parasocial relationships towards these kinds of people. Just because you or I believe that Carti makes good music shouldn't excuse the shit that he's done to so many fucking people. He's hurt a lot of people and has gotten away with it only because he makes good music. I don't know Carti personally, but he comes off as very arrogant to me. And as much of a fan I am of his music, I could never see myself obsessing over this man anymore. That's quite literally what a narcissist would want. I feel like I'm watching Rap's version of Jonestown. Like, you niggas is drinking the Kool-Aid. If I'm going to tell the story of the I Am Music rollout, I have to give you the full transparency. These are some of the things that he's doing during this rollout. And all that to say that I still do look forward to seeing I Am Music drop this year, because all I'm gonna say is that if he doesn't drop the album this year, I think he's actually gonna start losing his hype. You can only lie for so long until everything catches up to you. And if this next album is fucking ass, niggas are going to turn on him. And then maybe they will start to care about all the shit that he's done. I don't really know if he really likes us that much.
About 10 minutes ago, Playboi Carti's crew jumped me and my girlfriend, all because I wanted to ask him to sign my picture.
What the fuck is wrong with this man? Isn't he the one that posted this? But what do I know? He's one of the most popular artists out, so you know, fuck me. I'm just a rap channel. I love music. Yeah, I am music, whole lot of wet. See ya, Carti, my beloved. Never meet your idols, kids. They're all fucking assholes. And I want to give a shout out to some of our recent channel members: Risklow, Joe Lynn, Intelligent, Icy Loser, Cosmo Universe, Big Man Riv, Nick Fox, Sidejacker, Stinky Bean, Tina, RC Likes to Exist, Birds, Jesus Cool Kids XDYT, LaFlame, and username unknown. Your support means everything. And if any of you are interested in supporting the channel further, you can click the join button next to my name and become a member today. How the fuck did this nigga win Billboard's Artist of the Year? He hasn't dropped an album since I was a sophomore in high school. I'm 20 in January. This shit is fucked. You put in my car, my appetite. Can't